bójú wolẹ̀ kó o ṣàánú. Báwo ni Sáyọ́nì ṣe rí? Ìlú mímọ́ tí àwọn àyànfẹ́ ti ń pàdé. Ó bani nínú jẹ́. Omi márà lèyí Olúwa, bá wa sọ di dídùn.
Omi márà lèyí o, omi márà lèyí o. Bàbá, omi márà lèyí o, bàbá o. Ó á lè dùn, ó á lè dùn láìsí ọ Jèhófà o. Sọ di dídùn, sọ di dídùn já Jèhófà o ẹ̀bẹ̀. Alákòóso, alákòóso ti gbìyànjú wọn kò lè ṣe. Alátúnṣe, alátúnṣe ṣàpá púpọ̀ apá wọn ká. Omi máa lè jẹ́, omi máa lè yó. Sọ di dídùn, sọ di dídùn já Jèhófà o ẹ̀bẹ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe o. 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 Àgbéraga ẹ lọ ṣọ́ra yín. Àgbéraga ẹ lọ ṣọ́ra. Alágídí ẹ lọ ṣọ́ra yín o. Alágídí ẹ lọ ṣọ́ra. Òjò ẹ̀san kò ní gbé sókè. Òjò ẹ̀san kò ní gbé sókè yóò rọ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe o. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe o. Wọlé ló béèrè, ó ní níbo ni ìgbéraga gbà wọ Sáyọ́nì? Ta ni ó mọ̀ pé ọ̀rọ̀ promotion ló gbé kọ̀ǹténà ìgbéraga wọ Sáyọ́nì? A lè bí ìgbéraga ká gbé fún Ọlọ́run tán. Ọlọ́run á lè gbà kí ìgbéraga gbé ọ̀dọ̀ òun. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe. Kéde la Síónì jà, kìlọ̀ fún àwọn alágídí Síónì pé ọjọ́ kan súnmọ́lé. Bíbélì ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run nínú ìwé òwe orí 11 ẹsẹ̀ rẹ̀ 2 kí ló sọ ní ti àwọn agbéraga? Ó ní bí ìgbéraga bá dé nígbà náà ni ìtìjú dé. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe. Ó dáa, kí ni Bíbélì ilẹ̀ wa sọ nínú ìwé àwọn àgbà?
Hello. Good day, everyone. God bless you. Thank you. This is another day. My day 3 of our awareness, a call out on Ilaje leaders, Ondo leaders of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, over Ilaje communities, a place where we have a major revenue for the country and for the state, and a place that is totally abandoned, a place that despite the constant extraction of crude oil, yet there is no development in the area. So I am joining my voice to the voices of heroes who have been doing the cry out even before I started, to give a shout out and to cry out and call out these leaders who should do something, immediately. It's a pathetic situation, and I know that it's possible for 1 million people to rise up and keep talking, and for these leaders not to respond. I know it's possible, but we are going to try our best to keep playing our role, to contribute our quota to the development of our country and for the safety of our people. Corruption in leadership is like a lifestyle to a lot of African nations, or most African nations. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, the power drunkenness, the abuse of power, the corruption of African leaders. I know that leadership plague could be a global factor. However, it seems to be peculiar to some specific nations, because we see things with our own bare eyes. We see how passive leaders in these nations are. We don't see what they contribute, directly or indirectly. We know people, leaders eat money, they embezzle money, they mismanage funds, they do all those stuff. We know things like this happen all over. At least improve on a community where you are taking money from. Improve. If you won't do it perfectly, at least improve on it. So it is a major concern to an indigene, or the indigents, or the people of these communities. Because if you leave them, if you are taking the money, you are extracting the crude oil, and you leave them to just keep living their rural life, fishing as a source of major livelihood and all those things, and you don't endanger their lives along the line of taking their money, it's sad, it's pathetic. So this is day 3. I'm going to be showing you a few videos of people who have cried out in the past, and yet nothing has been done. And as I was saying on the first day, yesterday, and I'll continue to say today, that leaders are responsible for this neglect and for this destruction. Whether you like it or not, whether you accept it or not, whether you are still currently in leadership, or whether you are out, whatever you did not do during your time is part of the destruction that we are experiencing today in this community. No matter how you try to clear up your name, you are still as corrupt as whosoever is in leadership who is doing nothing right now. So take note of that. And I said, and I will say again, that a lot of you are actually feeding on blood money. You're feeding on blood money. I read biographies a lot, most especially biographies of people who have inspired me, including people who have been bad. At times, you need to clearly read the histories of some people and see the way they will end. Looking at the way they are living their lives right now, no value for people's or humans' life, no value, no regard for people. They are just there doing whatever they like nobody is going to question me. I love to study their history to see how they will end up, how their kids are doing, just to bring up issues like this, to tell people that will still come up to behave like them, and let them learn from, the people who did the same havoc to their community and to other people. I've seen a lot of them. I've read stories, I've read the biography of a lot of them. So many people who made life difficult for the people around them. I need to let you know that they are suffering and they will keep suffering. And their end is going to be as bad as anything. Hello, this is my first caller today. Thank you so much for calling. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what is your contribution?
Hi, my name is Nee. Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry, I lost you, but please feel free to call back again. If I wonder why the volume was extremely low. Let me see. Okay, all right. So no evil people end well. No evil people. No, none of them end well. So if you want to end well, be good. You want your kids to live a peaceful life, a crisis-free life. Don't endanger the life of other people's kids. Okay? Oh, yeah, that was the caller. Thank you so much. He said, if I can get a topic, I'll be glad to share my view and contribution. All right. If you need me to call you, I'll call you and I will ask you a few questions. Is that okay by you? I need you to reply the text if you can hear me. Okay, we have someone who is likely to tell us a lot of details about our community. I'll be giving you a call or you call back. I'll just ask you a few questions and I'm very sure that that'll be okay. If you are ready to talk now, if not, we can then schedule. All right, just reply my message. I'd love to bring you in immediately. And if you prefer a video that I'll be able to shoot in here, that would be very, very nice. So let's roll in today's edition. And I specifically tagged today as leaders who destroy their lands and kill their people. That is how, that's the best way to introduce a corrupt leader. That's just the best way to introduce a corrupt leader or a leader who is carefree over his responsibility or her responsibility to the people that he's elected, or even though you are selected, you know, to lead. That is the best way to address them. I acknowledge the presence of everyone, okay? Sorry if I don't go there to talk, but I acknowledge your presence. All right, and please feel free. I can see Victor David Omoria. Thank you. Thank you so much, brother. So please feel free to call in to make your contribution. Let the whole world know the kind of leaders we have. If you ask me what I'm doing this for, I'm doing it to call out our leaders. Yesterday, we brought out Barrister Benson, and I will still be bringing him up today, who happened to be a commissioner to the NDDC or so, and who also, whether he was responsible for one award of contract for the development of Ilaje land or not, but in as much as you were a leader at one point or the other in Ilaje community, you are guilty of whatever is going on in that land. If you were once a leader and you occupied a position where you could make a change in your community and you never did, you are guilty. Heaven condemns you. Earth condemns you. The people condemn you. Their dying children condemn you. The blood that is flowing in that land due to death because of the disaster going on there, all of them are actually speaking against you. So you need to not just ask for forgiveness, you need to restitute by going back there. Every penny you ate, you swallowed that was not yours, will have to be vomited. That's just the way some of you can be free. Okay? So, first of all, this is a video from Channels Television.
The Ilaje youth from the oil-producing riverine areas in Ondo State, protesting on the streets of Igbokoda. The angry protesters are lamenting the lack of basic infrastructure in their communities.
We are tired and sick of underdevelopment in our land. We are tired of sleeping in darkness. We are tired of living in poverty. We are tired of having bad roads in and around our community. We are tired of poor health sectors. We are tired of bad education system. We are tired of bad leadership. Today we have gathered ourselves to express our dissatisfaction. We are saying we want electricity.
We are not asking for oil money. All we are asking for, because we know that that money is not meant for the masses. All we are just asking for is land reclamation. We are asking for good potable water. We are asking for good roads. We are asking for them to bring back our electricity. This is not too much for our leaders. We have been quiet for the past 10 years and nothing is being done. We want to admonish the federal government so that they don't push our patients further.
They also threaten to disrupt the upcoming election if government doesn't do the needful.
No job, no fishing trawler, there's no way fishermen can preserve their fish after hard labor. So we want government to come to our rescue.
The chairman of the State Government Intervention Agency, Ondo State Oil-Producing Areas Development Commission, or SOPADEC, pledges that something will be done soon.
About 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were in a meeting of Ondo South Senatorial District of APC, where the
Yes, that man you can see here is the, what's his name? This is the Honorable Edema. Let me take you back a little bit. Benga Edema, chairman of SOPADEC. Is this man still the chairman of SOPADEC? This is one of the people who keep promising and do nothing. This is the chairman of SOPADEC. I don't know if he's the current chairman. This is one of the people we are calling out. People who are not ashamed that they are leaders, and we call them leaders, and there's no development in their land. And very soon they will be out of their tenure, and there will be nothing to show for it. This is one of the people that will say it is shame, very shameful. They should be ashamed and cover their faces that there's no development in their immediate community, even as leaders.
The director in the Niger Delta Power Holding briefed us about what Niger Delta Power Holding is doing to restore life there in earnest. We already have a collaboration with BEDC and all the critical stakeholders. So the government is passionate about it, and I hope that in due course this will materialize and will yield results.
Promise made. What the youth of Ilaje will now be watching to see is if government matches word with action before their patience finally runs out.
Did you hear that? Promise made. They keep making promises and promises and promises. This was, what year was this? 2019. Now, 2020 is wrapping off, and I don't know. Now, these young, wonderful souls who were protesting at that time were protesting for Igbokoda, the local government of Ilaje, where the several years I have been visiting up and down, there was no light for 10 consecutive years. It's crazy. There was no light, no power supply, no electricity for 10 consecutive years. And these young people took to the street to say, are you guys crazy? There is no good water in Igbokoda, where we even have solid soil and ground. No good water, no electricity. And these leaders keep coming up, participating in election. Chairman like Mr. Edema, the chairman of SOPADEC and all those stuff, you know, a lot of them like that. I was reading an article on Sahara Reporter. I need to bring up that article. Yes, follow sure that's how they make promises. They are evil. You know, and we need to really keep calling these people what they are. They are evil. They are evil, and it's pathetic. You know, yesterday we were talking about Barrister Benson, and I did some other readings, and I realized that Barrister Benson, at a point in his political career, actually resigned from the cabinet of the current governor during his first tenure, Governor Akeredolu. And he was talking about his resignation. He actually resigned from the cabinet of the governor Akeredolu. And I was reading where he was talking about, you know, they tried to reach out. Let me quickly read this. Reference to Sahara Reporters. It says, breaking news, Akeredelu's oil and gas aide, Enekwuemeyin, resigns amid cabinet rumble. Okay. He was even as active as 2018. Enekwuemeyin. And the story says, Enekwuemeyin, the senior special assistant on oil and gas to Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State, has resigned his position. Enekwuemeyin resigned his position in a letter dated November 30th, 2018, signed and addressed to the governor. Sahara Reporters obtained the copy of the resignation letter, which was routed through the office of the secretary to the state government. In the letter, Enekwuemeyin did not state the reason for his resignation, but our correspondent learned that his resignation may be connected to the crisis rocking Akeredelu's cabinet. Efforts to reach Enekwuemeyin for comments proved abortive, as all his phone lines were switched off as of press time. However, a source close to him confirmed the resignation to Sahara Reporters, saying, yes, he has resigned and the resignation letter is not fake. It is real, and that is his signature. There are many issues. Yeah, I'll continue from that. Let's respond to our first caller today. Hello, you.
Mommy Jill.
I'm actually on a show right now. Are you calling to contribute to the show, or is a personal call? Okay, I'm sorry. That looks like a personal call. I'm sorry. Okay, I got the message from my first caller, who was saying that leadership in general in the American system of government. No, I thought you were calling to speak to the show. All right. I thought you were calling to speak to the show. All right. So I'm sorry. So let me keep reading that. There are many issues going on in this government that people don't know. You are a journalist, and I know you should have your nose, ears, and eyes in the government of Akeredolu, who has turned his cabinet into a family business. That caught my attention so much. That, and this was 2018, that he has turned the administration, the government of Ondo State, into a family business, according to this article. And the article goes on to say his wife, Betty Akeredolu, and son have taken over almost everything in the state. All the contracts are now being awarded either to his wife, his son, and even in-laws. Mostly in the Osopadek office, the governor's wife and son are in charge of all the contracts. If this is true, actually there is an element or elements of truth in this article, because I guess it's common. This is like a common practice in Africa or in the political system in Nigeria, that once you are in authority, it's like a family business. It's like a family business. That is why our communities and the masses are being, massively neglected. No care, no concern. And what these people don't know is this. And let me also use this avenue to address our political leaders in Nigeria and Africa at large. You may make the leadership of your nation a family business. Specifically, it may not be all about this article. This has been my observation. This has been the case, most of the time in the leadership of these African people, and specifically Nigeria. Once you come into power like that, and you are being elected by the people, and the reason why you're coming into a public office is to serve the public, to serve the community, to represent them, to be a voice for them. You see, I guess we do not know the primary reason when we talk about leadership. The primary reason of leadership is coordination. Because all of us cannot be doing, whatever we like, throwing stones without target. A leader is called on board to carefully, with wisdom, administer operations of the organization or of the nation where you are called to lead. It is not a family business. And if you keep making it a family business and you mismanage the fund of the public, you mismanage the property of the public, and you favor your family members, why other people suffer? I want to remind you, just like I started talking about it 2 days ago, you are spending blood money, and you are definitely going to have a bloody result at the end of the day. Accept it or leave it. Nemesis is going to catch up with everyone who made life difficult for the poor. Let me talk to you as a preacher of the gospel. The Bible says, he who give unto the poor lend to their maker. That is one of the most powerful parts of the scriptures. And some of you are actually Christians. You go to church, you pay offering. Nobody is asking you for offering in these churches. Develop your community. That alone is a big offering, even in the sight of God. The monetary resources you pump into our churches is not as important as what we expect you to do in our communities. And you should know that you are not going to be there for life. You have a very limited time, as limited as 8 years or less, to serve in these public offices. It's not a period to scoop money for yourself. That money you're scooping and you're depriving your community, and other people's children are dying because of your negligence as a leader, is blood money. It's blood money. You need to go to Ayetoro and ask people, ask those women, those old women, those men, displaced men, men who work all their lives out, who now look older than their age in order to fend for their family. Go and ask them. All of them curse you. As they cry, have you seen men who cry? Whatever makes a man cry is a big deal. Men in Ilaje land, some of them cry. As they look back after the erosion, as they look back after the sea incursion and invasion and everything, and whatever they have worked for decades, they have nothing to show for it. See, their breath, not just their word, is a curse to you and everything that belongs to you if you are a public leader. If you want to build a house, the Bible says you should count your costs. Don't just go into politics if you know that there are people who mess up things. Don't associate yourself with them so that they don't put you in trouble. Some of you will say, okay, I actually wanted to contribute my quota, but they don't allow us to do it. So we just do everything together. That won't be an explanation strong enough to spare you when the time of judgment comes. I'm not talking about judgment day alone. I'm talking about judgment right from here on earth. Some of you, your health are already being battered, and you'll be so shocked that money cannot cater for some of the health issues you are going through. See, some of you, all those poor children need to pray for you before you can be healed or your problem can be solved. Children who live in perpetual pain under that mosquito in a nation where God planted them and said, okay, this is the resources I've allotted to those of you in this community. Manage it well, live in prosperity, and serve me. And a group of people cut them off and they are eating the money, and you feel the end is going to be good. It's going to be very bad. And Governor Akeredolu, sir, if the report I just read now on Sahara Reporter is right, oh, what a shame, sir. What a shame, a big one. If it is true that what that correspondent said to the Sahara Reporter News that I just read now is true, that contracts are being diverted, including contracts that concerns Osopadek. Osopadek is a body, a government body or agency that belongs to the government, the Ondo State government, to manage these areas, communities, where we extract crude oil for the revenue of the state and the federal government of Nigeria at large. Someone was Barrister Benson and Ikweme, you were a special AD for Governor Akeredolu during his first tenure. Whether you resigned or you did not, before you resigned, what happened? What did you do? Some of you occupy these strategic positions. God gave you the privilege to be there so that you could speak. Some of you, when you just take your stand and speak, know how there will be development. You are also quiet. And let me address our Obas. Kabiesiu. All the Obas in Ilaje. I want to say that if we show a location like this, if a location like this is a place where your afin is, or a nearby village or community where your afin is, I think it's a shameful thing to have a whole Kabiesi of Ilaje or in any community having a place as rotten as this and nobody is talking. Nobody is saying anything about it. I suggested from the very first day, and I'm still saying, if at this point our Obas have not had a royal meeting where they say no more extraction of crude oil in the Ilaje community until they start developing those communities, your voices will be firmly honored. Some of us that are just talking like this, a fatherless child that is just here. I'm also here for greener pasture in America. I'm also here to also hustle since you guys are misbehaving. A lot of Nigerian youths are running abroad. Not because there is, you see, when you compare what is in this developed country or developing country and you compare it with what you have in your own country, you will see how blessed Nigeria is. Just management of resources is our problem. There's no big deal in these nations where people are to ask for greener pasture or to look for greener pasture. No big deal. There's nothing they have that we do not have. The only thing they have, which is a major thing, is good administration, good people who have good hearts. I'm not saying there's no corruption in America or anywhere else. But despite the corruption, electricity is constant. People, you see, during winter in America, winter is a season where cold is extreme, is at the extreme. Someone like me, I don't enjoy the cold. You know, I'm always like indoor, putting on the heat and all those things. You know, we also have homeless people in America. As blessed as America is, we have homeless people. And you know, the Bible talks about it, that the poor will always remain in the land. I do not know. I don't want to know why. That's what the Bible says. We have homeless people in the street of America. But during winter, if you stay outside when the degree becomes so low, you may not survive it. Do you know what nations like America or Canada, do you know what they do? They have some buildings strategically positioned across the nation where they go with vehicles and they collect all these homeless people and take them under a shelter during the period when they know that they can't cope if they are outside. That's why a nation like America will never go down. They will keep working stronger, and we are praying. We are praying for the will of God to be done in America in all facets. The reason why a nation like America will never go down is all the biblical principles for prosperity are the ones they follow strictly. Word for word, precept upon precept. I have studied the American system because I'm looking forward to one day where the Lord will give me the grace to also be a part of growth in my nation, Nigeria, and in my community, Ilaje. They strictly follow the rules, the principles of prosperity. Let me show you one of it. That is what I just explained to you. They don't allow the poor to die just like that. Never. If an accident happens and a homeless guy is run over by a vehicle, American government take them for intensive care. After treatment, and you are well, they may release you, go back, may struggle, survive. They don't joke with lives. Even those that are healthy in Nigeria, our Nigerian leaders will still go and pick them outside and destroy their lives. Shame on all of you. I have another video I need to show you here. Shame, pure shame on all of you. It's not just happening in Ilaje, it's also happening in Niger Delta, and I don't know the problem with our leaders. Take a look at all the places where major money comes into the country in Nigeria. All of them are underdeveloped. I was reading some articles about printing press, and I was shocked that Shomolu in Lagos State is one of the major market for printing press in the whole of Africa. A major market for printing press. Go and check it out. Extremely underdeveloped. All right, so this is a revolt that was also going on, like a protest. So that is one of it. So this fight has been on for decades. So when you just see someone like me who is talking, of course, I'm just fresh in the fight. A lot of my brothers, my sisters, people have been in the street out there. And you see, it's difficult for me to accuse Chevron in any way, if not for our immediate leaders. At times you will be shocked to hear that money were actually awarded for the development of these communities. It will never get to their locations. If money was awarded, contracts were awarded a few years ago for a community like Ayetoro, who is totally sweeping off and getting swallowed by the sea right now. And never, nothing was ever done. And you're telling me that people have they are bringing curses upon themselves. They are bringing curses upon themselves. Governor Akeredolu, this your new tenure. Don't just do it and go. If there is no single development in Ilaje land, whether you will usurp authority and stop pushing out the money to those that you know that will not do it. And I don't know why you governors in Nigeria are not overseeing projects. That's why I love the former governor of Lagos State, the son, Raji Fashola. He's an inspector. He was looking at things. I believe he was inspecting things, discovering cameras all about. Do that also. The money you release, some of you actually know that people will not carry out this contract. And it doesn't bother you. It's a curse. The years you become the governor for 8 years, history has it for life. Then we should bring out the things you achieved during your time. If there is nothing to show in our strategic communities such as Ilaje, shame on you and your generations. If I meet your children as a former governor of any state in Nigeria who made no major impact, in their community, we call them shame. They should cover their faces. They may live large, they may live big, they may have money, beautiful, fancy cars. They have girls, they have, they smoke, they drink, they do all those things. It's not God's blessing. Don't misquote things. Some of you, after winning the election, you go to make testimony in the church, and your pastors may not even remind you that, sir, do this work. You should even stop polluting the church purses by making offerings and all those things, because the money you spend, they are curses. The Nigerian government is paying the political people so much, and still. So I saw a data online from January till date, how the Nigerian government have cleverly increased fuel money per liter every blessed month. I saw that article. We are waiting for December. We want to know how much they will add to it. Google and see fuel price from January 2020 till date in Nigeria. You will see that every month there is an addition to fuel money per liter. Madness of the highest order. Shame on you. Nigerian leaders who are doing nothing to develop their country and make life easier for their people, shame on you. You better don't go to your grave this way. It's a curse that will run in generations. Because the poverty you've introduced to people's life will keep running even in generations. So be it unto thee. I have a video. This is for Niger Delta, and see what you see how rotten our leaders are generally. That this is a news from a foreign government. Oh, sorry, news.
Welcome to the Real News Network. I'm Paul Jay in Baltimore. In San Ramon, California, where the headquarters of Chevron is, there was an action protest outside and inside the annual shareholders meeting. Many people were involved, including people from communities around the world affected by Chevron activities. One of those people, and joining us now from San Francisco, is Imem Okan. She's the founder and executive director of the Kebetkachi Women Development and Resource Center in Niger. Imem was a supporter of the powerful women's protests of Chevron Corporation, against Chevron, for its environmental and human rights abuses in Nigeria, and which garnered a lot of international media attention when a group of women took over an oil installation and threatened to take off their clothes if the company did not negotiate with them. As I said, now joining us is Imem. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
So what happened when the women threatened to take off their clothes if there were not negotiations? Were there then negotiations?
There were negotiations, but the reason the women took over the oil tank farm was that Chevron and other oil companies is fond of negotiating with only the men, because the community leadership comprises of only the men and the male youths. So because Chevron was not listening to the women and not paying attention to the concerns and interests of the women decided to mobilize and organize and took over the oil tank farm because they wanted to get the attention of Chevron. They stopped production on the oil tank farm for 11 days, and they insisted that Chevron management staff should come down to Uborodo community to discuss with them. But by the time Chevron decided to come and discuss and negotiate with the women, the process was taken over by the men. The state government sent representatives, the traditional rulers sent representatives, and it was only 2 women that was part of the negotiation. However, a memorandum of understanding came out from that process, where Chevron agreed to carry out a series of community development projects and also yield to some demands of the women. But this memorandum of understanding was never implemented.
I guess that's my question. What then, the rubric of the protest or the action at the shareholders meeting was the true cost of Chevron. So what is the true cost of Chevron in Nigeria?
The true cost of Chevron is a network of community representatives, civil society organizations that come together. The coordination of the network is actually based here in San Francisco, and we have traveled far from our various countries. I live in Port Harcourt of the Niger Delta region of Nigeria, and I came as a representative of community women that I work with. Community women whose voices have not been heard, community women who have not had the opportunity and the privilege of traveling out here to come and speak to Chevron about the devastating impact of the activities in their communities.
You went into the shareholders meeting, if I understand it correctly. I don't know if
Yes, I did.
I don't know how much time they gave you to speak, but what did you want
Just 2 minutes.
What did you want to say to them?
What I said to them in their corporate responsibility report, I noticed that Chevron claimed that they have impacted on the lives of 850,000 persons from the Niger Delta region. And as part of that report, there were photographs of women who are selling dry fish along the roadside. And I pointed it out to the shareholders and Chevron directors that the photographs in that report does not in any way show the way Chevron has impacted positively on the lives of women in the Niger Delta. It does not in any way show that Chevron is contributing to development and improvement in the quality of life of women in the Niger Delta region. Apart from that, I also asked Chevron what they are planning to do to alleviate the negative impact of the gas explosion that took place in Bayelsa State in January 2012.
And tell us what happened there, and give us a picture. What is the effect of Chevron's activities in Nigeria? I mean, what inspired you and others to be opposing what Chevron does?
The impact of Chevron activities and other oil companies are in various dimensions. In the first place, the environment has been devastated in the sense that the traditional means of livelihood of the community women are farming and fishing. And incidents of oil spillage occurs almost on a daily basis, and oil has spilled into farmlands oil has spilled into rivers, into streams, into creeks. And rivers and streams and creeks are the main source of water in the coastline communities and in many communities in the Niger Delta region. There are no other source of drinking water for the people. And when oil is spilled into this river, into this stream, the river becomes polluted. And because there's no option, the people still go back to that polluted water and they drink from there. And this has health implications. Also, issues of gas flaring causes health implications. A lot of women are having miscarriages, a lot of women are having stillbirth, a lot of women are having cases of cancer, cases of respiratory problems and other reproductive health issues. And there are also no health facilities in these communities. So you can imagine the kind of life that people live. They breathe in polluted air, they drink polluted water, their farmlands are destroyed, their means of livelihood are destroyed, and they have nothing to fall back to.
Now, I assume that one of Chevron's arguments might be that they're operating within the law of Nigeria and that many of the problems you're describing are problems that should be solved by the Nigerian government, and that there's lots of revenues from oil and the Nigerian government should use those revenues to solve the problem. How would you respond to that argument?
How will those revenues clean up the spillage in farmlands? How will those revenues clean up the environment? Is it those revenues that will stop gas flaring? I think it is Chevron's responsibility to stop gas flaring that is causing all these health implications in the Niger Delta, that is also contributing to global warming and climate change issues in the Niger Delta region.
But what about the issue of royalties in that? I assume Chevron pays royalties. Are they being in any way shared with the people from the region?
They are in no way impacting on the community people. Royalties, there is 13% derivation that is being paid to state government, but royalties are not paid. The people are not benefiting in any way from royalties that are paid to government. The community people are not benefiting. The community women are not benefiting in any way. If they are benefiting, they will not be complaining.
And what is it you want Chevron to do then?
Chevron have to change the ways that they operate in the Niger Delta region. They should clean up the spills. If spills occur, they should clean up the spills, knowing that this oil is spilled into people's farmland. And when it is not cleaned up, the women cannot go back to that land and farm anymore. And that means the women become displaced from their means of livelihood. And that increases the burden of poverty on the women. And that when oil is spilled into the water, the women have no source of drinking water. So it is their responsibility when oil is spilled into the environment, they should clean up the environment. It is also their responsibility to stop gas flaring in the Niger Delta region.
All right, well, thanks very much for joining us. And as I've mentioned in the other segments of interviews, we will be asking Chevron to respond. Well, we'll see if they do. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on the Real News Network.
All right, so that was an experience, an interview granted to one of our sisters in the Niger Delta, granted by the Real News in Baltimore, United States of America. Can you see what we are going through? Is it our offense? Should we be blamed to be blessed by God with natural resources? And the way we are plagued with bad leaders, bad people who manage, our resources. See this. This is
You can see now. How the gas is coming out. Look at this. Very serious. Beyond control. It has caused a lot of problems. And people can no longer do all their work. can see now.
So this is some of the things that happen in the locations where they extract crude oil. Carelessness of the Chevron and other people, corn oil, who extract crude oil. You know, this is part of the things we experience over there. Hello? Yeah, hello, thank you for calling. This is Mary Boye. Where are you calling from, and what's your contribution to the show?
Yeah, my name is Michael. I am calling you from New Delhi, India. Actually, it's morning here. It's 2 a.m. I've been listening to your program, and I want to appreciate you for enlightening our people. You know, on the issue of oil spillage, Ilaje people, what they call Niger Delta. All right. The problem we are facing is not Shell, it's not Chevron, it's nobody. The problem we are facing is internal problem. We have a problem. Shell cannot solve our problem. Chevron cannot solve our problem. We are the problem. Until we rise up without minding who is leading, without minding who is ruling, without minding who are going to step on their feet, nothing will change. I could remember when they were doing campaign in 2015 that they're going to clean Niger Delta, they call it. They will clean this, they will clean that. Is this Shell that is holding us there? Is it Shell that kills Sarawiwa? Is it Shell? The same problem that Sarawiwa died for is the same problem that we are still talking about today after how many years? It's appalling. It's very, very annoying that our people are still believing in all this Shell, this who brought Shell to Nigeria. Who are the shareholders of Shell? Who is your president? Vice president? Who are the NND? Who is heading? This problem is an internal problem. They should forget about Shell. If you want Shell to stop work in Nigeria today, they will stop it. But because they have used bribe to silence our people, they have used bribe to silence everybody. If you accept bribe, then they have shut you up. You cannot be able to speak again. Those so-called leaders, they call themselves NNDC. They have used money to seal their mouth. They cannot speak anymore. None of them can talk. You understand? So blaming Shell is not the issue. It's time for people to rise up and do the needful. Doing the needful is shut down everything and everyone. If not, they will keep on complaining till eternity. I was born, and I'm still hearing oil spillage. I am still hearing poverty in Niger Delta. What kind of poverty? They still don't have drinking water in 21st century, when people that call themselves Shell are developing their place. Yet our people cannot allow us to grow. Our people, I mean, when I say our people, our so-called leaders, they are responsible for all this nonsense, not Shell. Okay? So anybody blaming Shell is making a mistake. They should hold our people responsible for all this nonsense. That's my contribution this morning. Thank you very much for your program.
All right, thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you, and do have a blessed night rest.
All right, thank you.
All right, of course, that was a fantastic contribution from my lovely brother from Asia. His point is so clear. Shell is not our problem. Chevron is not our problem. Corn oil is not our problem. Our problem is internal. Crystally presented. And I totally agree with him. And that is exactly what I'm running this live show for. As you can see the topic, that we have leaders who don't mind to destroy their land and kill their people. And I keep saying it, nemesis is coming upon you guys if you don't rise up and do something about our communities. You can't chase us, our parents or our children, out of our lands. Do something. And our internal leaders who keep getting bribes and you are keeping quiet, allowing them to destroy your land. You are eating blood money. You're spending blood money even on your kids. You are endangering your future. You are not just killing other people's children. You are killing your future. Take note of all this evil. And you go abroad. Look, there is no... You heard the woman that was interviewed earlier by the Real News here in the US. She said there is no health facility, a good health facility, even in these areas in Niger Delta, including Ilaje. No good health facility. It's crazy to note that. Our leaders who are taking this money, anytime they have health issue, whether minor or major, they take private jets and go abroad. As a political leader of a whole nation, you leave your own suburb and you travel to other political leaders' environment who are busy developing their nations, and that's where you get treatment. Shame on you. Shame on you. And I'm very sure it's not going to continue like this. Keep chasing all of us out. Look at my brother that I just called now, called from India or a part of Asia. And there you are. Some of you, after leaving your offices, political offices, you have to go and hide abroad. Let me tell you, there is no distance that nemesis cannot cover. I call on you in the name of God, in the name of posterity. I call on you in the name of anything that you need to hear, to stand up and begin to do something in your community as our leaders. If you can't do it, so you don't bring a curse upon yourself and a generation, don't go to leadership position. And those of you that have sold your hearts to the God of money, I want you to think about what you are doing. I want you to talk to yourself. You see, if God still gives you the grace to sleep and wake, eat and drink and all those things, it's a long rope whether you have a change of heart and be a positive social change agent in your community, in Nigeria, in the Niger Delta, in Ilaje land, and the other communities that have been so deprived. What is wrong with you setting up a company to create jobs for the people in this community instead of them to keep fishing, and the water to fish from is even no longer there? Farming, you heard he said farming and fishing is the only thing they do. Now, the farming and the fishing they do, imagine that even the oil spillage issue is destroying all this source of livelihood. It's a pathetic thing. You are making people cry. You're killing people on a daily basis by depriving them. You go to the House of Rep, you go for your meetings, you don't speak for the people. And if you are a vocal person, you speak and nothing is done. Please, I want to encourage you. Don't stop speaking. You could call the attention of other people, let them join force with you, so that they can talk. We can talk senses into the heart of these people. Some of them that have sold their hearts to the devil, probably they will have a change of heart and develop our nation. We are not happy that Nigerians are running abroad to work out their houses in order to survive. Some of us work 2-3 jobs to pay bills and to survive. And we are blessed so much with natural resources. A lot of you are in Dubai. You are in these nations, we are in these nations where their lands are very dry. And yet, you are there to still look for greener pasture, living a beautifully and majorly blessed nation as Africa or Nigeria, because a few people are, in charge of everything, eating them up. Constipation is coming for you. Sincerely, and I have no regret for that. To the glory of God, I'll be continuing with this live stream tomorrow. Do me a favor, share this. Let's create more awareness. There are a lot of things going on underground. I'll be giving you updates as time permits during each live stream. Please don't give up connecting and sharing like this. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers we have, the more, the wider the the stream goes to reach these evil people in government. Again, I want to see our lovely governor of Ondo State, who has just been re-elected, jubilating over his re-election. Welcome, Governor Akeredolu, the great dancer. So that is a governor, the Ondo State governor. He's been re-elected for another 4 years. The first 4 years that he was elected, this is what his community still looks like. This is what it still looks like. This is what it still looks like. Look. After the re-election of a leader who spent 4 years, this is what the community still looks like.
Níbo ni àgbààgbà Ilaje wà? Níbo ni gbogbo àwọn olóyè wa? Àwọn èèyàn kìjàkàjàkà tí a ní ìlú yìí tó lè sọ̀rọ̀ ní ìlú Ilaje níbo ló wà? Ohun gbogbo ń bojúrú, ìlú Ilaje bàjẹ́ tán, òkú ti gbé gbogbo ìlú wa lọ. Ayé tòrò rèé. Ẹ wo bí tí a wà, ẹ wo bí tí a dé, ẹ wo ohun tó ṣẹ́kù fún wa. Síbẹ̀ akékékéké anyányá ààrẹ ni dá wa lóhùn. Ṣá kì í ṣọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí ni, àbá kì í ṣọmọ Ondo State, ìlú tó sọ fún wàrà àti fún oyin. Síbẹ̀síbẹ̀ a wà lórí epo, àwa ń jìyà bẹ́ni tí ò lépo. Ilaje a ò lépo nǹkan fọ̀, ká pò nǹkan kí àfọ̀ nǹkan sọ̀rọ̀. Dàkótómì ó ń bà wá jẹ́, a ò lè sọ̀rọ̀ nínú ìmọ̀ kan àti èdè kan. Ṣé bí Ayétòrò bá lọ níbo lókùn? Ṣé Ayétòrò kì í ṣe Ilaje ni? Àbí bí nǹkan bá ṣẹlẹ̀ sí Ayétòrò níbo ni Ilaje wà? A ò lè sọ̀rọ̀, a ò lè dígbé, àwọn tó wà ní ìjọba wọn dákẹ́, àwọn tó wà ní òkè lọ́wọ́ wọn dákẹ́, àwọn tó wà ní àwòsí wọn ò sọ̀rọ̀. Gbogbo ẹni lẹ́la Ilaje tí a ní wọ́n dákẹ́, wọ́n ń wò wá níran. Ṣé báyé níbo lókùn ní ìlú Ilaje? Ayára gbalẹ̀ èrò, ẹ wò ó, ìyà ń jẹ wá, a ò rẹ́ni ràn wá lọ́wọ́. Ìjọba ẹ dìde sí ọ̀rọ̀ wa, Ondo State dìde sí ọ̀rọ̀ wa, gómìnà ẹ dá wa lóhùn. Ṣé ó yẹ kó máa rí báyìí? Ṣá kì í ṣọmọ ìlú yìí ni, a kì í ṣọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí ni, táwọn ọ̀rẹ́ ni dá wa lóhùn. Owó epo wa kí la fi ṣe? Owó epo wa kí la fi ṣe? Àwọn èèyàn lẹ́la Ilaje gbogbo wọn dákẹ́ wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀, gbogbo wọn dákẹ́ wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀. Níbo ló wà tó ò lè dá wa lóhùn? Ẹ já sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí, òkú ń gbé Ayétòrò lọ, ẹ̀yin tí òkú bá Ayétòrò bá sí mọ́ níbo ni Ilaje? Ṣé Ilaje lè wà bá Ayétòrò bá sí mọ́? Ẹ já dìde ká fọ nǹkan sọ̀rọ̀, ká fìmọ̀ nǹkan sọ̀rọ̀. Gbogbo àwọn ènìyàn wa ẹ dìde níbikíbi tẹ́ bá wà, àsìkò ti tó, ìyà ń jẹ wá, ó ti tó gẹ́.
I'll be calling it a night right now. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. Do me a favor, share it. Share it, let it go out there. Let people keep seeing the evils of our leaders. I know that people have done a lot in the past and yet these people did not respond. I'm not going to be the last speaker to talk about the evil our leaders are doing in our communities and to our families, to their own people and to their own land. If I stop talking to the other people, will still come up until something is done. And let me plead with younger people, when it comes to your turn, if the Lord gives you the privilege to be a leader in any capacity, don't make it an opportunity to enrich yourself and your family. It is not a family business, it's a national business. And let me tell you, you are divinely selected and elected, called, because there are abilities in you that God might be trusting to help the people live a better life. If you are a believer in the Christian faith and you are very familiar with the Bible, I did a study in the Bible concerning poverty and poor people. There are some sensitive scriptures about poor people, and I started wondering, why does God pay this good attention to poor people, and he doesn't go the extra mile to take them out of their poverty? One of these confusing Bible verse is, there will always be the poor in the land. And at times I ask myself that, God, you are the all-knowing, almighty God. You can take them out of this poverty. One of the first response I get with researches and divinely is that at times poverty could be by choice. Someone who meets himself or herself in a position of poverty could determine to say, I'm getting out of this mess. The ability for you to work hard and achieve whatever you desire has been put in you by the Almighty God. Those who are poor, I do not call them lazy. But the Bible says that we always remain the poor in the land. If you are among those that will remain among the poor, but the poverty of the people shouldn't come with people who are saddled with the responsibility to make life easier for them. And in the Bible, for God to deal with people who are vulnerable, who are helpless, who are poor, in Israel, in the Bible days, God specifically instructed every leader that comes up as a king in Israel and in Judah to set up a food bank strategically across the whole nation of Israel. A food bank is a place God calls his own in the Bible, and people, after working in your farmland, you make contributions, what we call tithe today. So people make contribution like taxes, and they take this during harvest. They take a portion of their harvest to these food banks. God calls those food banks, he said, my house, bring foods to my house. He specifically created that law for them. And the leaders, in every generation, they oversee that, even till date. It's the same thing America is doing. America has food banks built across the nation. If you don't have money to eat, there are some specific places you will go and you will get food like you spend $1,000. Free of charge. So these are the principles that these nations have put in place that will never they will never go poor. They will never run down. They are biblical principles. The reverse is the case in our beloved nation, Nigeria, and Africa at large. There are some nations in Africa that before while I was a baby, they become the president of their nation. They are still the president today. Go to some African nations. They want to become leaders for life. African people are so power drunk. They are so proud. And even though you want to be power drunk, why don't you develop your community? They look like people who have sacrificed their conscience to the devil to torment people. It's mostly in Africa that you will see African people walking through the desert to walk to Europe or greener pasture. For greener pasture to walk to nation through the desert. And some of them die. Some of them cross the Atlantic Ocean for greener pasture. Running away from Africa that is well blessed. And African leaders are there tormenting their own people, making life difficult for them. Shame on African leaders. Any African leader who is acting below par in your offices, shame on you. And you are bringing judgment upon yourself and your generations. Poor people cry every day. Children who die out of sicknesses because there are no good health facilities for them or affordable ones for them. Their blood cry. I pray it shall be well. So young people, if that time comes, because the people that are misbehaving right now, there was a time they were young. The orientation they had before coming into leadership is totally a polluted orientation. One of the things we will do to really correct errors in the African community is the orientation younger people, have, once they start coming into the place of leadership. It's not a place to enrich yourself. It's a place you are trusted to make life easier for people. Don't vandalize and victimize the poor. Don't kill. When the Bible says thou shalt not kill, killing is not because you carry a gun and you shoot someone down. When you deprive anyone who goes into pain, you are a murderer. Your hands are stained with blood of innocent people. If there is any covenant in life, talking about spiritual covenant, if there is any covenant that is so strong, the covenant of blood, when you make life difficult for people, you are sinning against blood. Because the stress take away life from them, take away joy, happiness from them. I hope you have a change of heart. Thank you so much, guys, for being a part of this. Please kindly subscribe to the channel. If you're watching through the page, please like the page, subscribe to these channels, and please share. I'll keep this up. Just like I said earlier, I'll be bringing up a lot of things. So many things are going on underneath, and once they are ripe for the public consumption, I'll be able to bring them up. Don't be discouraged anywhere you are. If you have families who are vulnerable, who are in these areas, please, a phone call is a lot to encourage so many people. We may not have money to feed everybody, but that you care alone is a lot. Check on someone who hasn't heard from you for a while. It shall be well in Jesus' name. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Orí karùn-ún ẹsẹ̀ rẹ̀ kẹwàá títí dé ìparí kí ló kà? Kíyèsí, ẹyẹ kan wà tí orúkọ rẹ̀ a máa ń jẹ́ akoko. Àwọn eléèbó pè é ní woodpecker. A fún ẹyẹ yìí lágbára kan tí ẹyẹ mìíràn kò ní. A máa fi àkó ẹnu rẹ̀ dá ihò sára igi nínú igbó. Bó ti wù kí igi ọ̀hún le tàbí kó tóbi tó. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe o. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe o. Lọ́jọ́ kan ẹ̀wẹ̀, ìgbéraga gùn ún lọ́kàn. Ó gbàgbé pé agbára òun kì í ṣòun lòun ní, pé Olódùmarè ló ní. Ó pé pàdé àwọn ẹyẹ yòókù sì wá. Ó gbéraga ó sì sọ fún wọn, ó ní lọ́jọ́ tí ìyá òun bá kú, òun á fi ẹnu wa hò sínú àpáta, òun á sì sin ìyá òun sínú rẹ̀. Àgbéraga ẹ lọ ṣọ́ra yín. Àgbéraga ẹ lọ ṣọ́ra. Òjò ẹ̀san kò ní gbé sókè. Òjò ẹ̀san kò ní gbé sókè yóò rọ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe o. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe o. Ó sì ṣe lẹ́yìn ọjọ́ díẹ̀, ìyá rẹ̀ ṣàìsàn dójú ikú. Ó wá ń bẹ Ọlọ́run kí ìyá òun má ti kú, nítorí pé typhoid fever pàápàá ń ṣe òun lọ́wọ́. Ìbẹ́ sì ti bà ẹnu rẹ̀ jẹ́, tó bẹ́ẹ̀ tí kò lè fi àkó ẹnu rẹ̀ dá ewé lu mọ́. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe jàre. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe o. Kí ló wá ṣẹlẹ̀? Ìyá rẹ̀ kú. Gbogbo àwọn ẹyẹ tí àkókò ti gbéraga lójú rẹ̀ wá fọwọ́ lẹ́rán. Wọ́n fẹ́ wo Boye fẹ́ sin ìyá rẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀. Ìbẹ́ ti bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ́nu, kò lè sin ìyá rẹ̀ sínú igi, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kò lè sin sínú àpáta. Ó bẹ̀bẹ̀ fún ọjọ́ púpọ̀ kan tó bá sin ìyá rẹ̀ ọ̀hún sínú èèpẹ̀ amọ̀. Àgbéraga ẹ lọ ṣọ́ra yín. Àgbéraga ẹ lọ ṣọ́ra. Àbànújẹ́ ẹ lọ ṣọ́ra yín. Àbànújẹ́ ẹ lọ ṣọ́ra. Òjò ẹ̀san kò ní gbé sókè. Òjò ẹ̀san kò ní gbé sókè yóò rọ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe o. Ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run dàbí òwe o. My people, This world, it get as it be. If Ilaje man tell you say you oraye duma boju eyin, that mean to say if you see this world people make you run, no look back. Them set armed robber free, them carry Jesus go kill. Wo areti bara bàjẹ́, wo ọmọ lọ́rùn lórí igi. Wo areti bara bàjẹ́, wo ọmọ lọ́rùn lórí igi. Ayé agbẹ́bí fún àlàré, ayé agbáre fún ẹlẹ́bí. Wọ́n dàbàrà bá olè sílẹ̀, wọ́n mú Jésù wọn kà mọ́ kiri. Àyànfẹ́ mo bẹ̀ yín ẹ ṣọ́ra, ayé tẹ̀rí yẹ burú gan. Ọ̀pọ̀ àyànfẹ́ ni wọ́n ti ta lọ́fà, àdánilóró gbàgbé ọ̀la. Olè ọjọ́ ńlá kò rí mọ́, àdánilóró gbàgbé ọ̀la. Ayé agbẹ́bí fún àlàré, ayé agbáre fún ẹlẹ́bí. Wọ́n dàbàrà bá olè sílẹ̀, wọ́n mú Jésù wọn kà mọ́gé. Àṣebí ń yọ̀ ó ní mo ṣe gbé. Ó yọ̀ ó ní mo ṣe gbé. Àṣebí ń yọ̀ ó ní mo ṣe gbé. Àṣebí máa yọ̀ ó ṣe gbé. Ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ń kọ́, ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ń yọ̀ ó ní mo ṣe gbé. Kò sí àṣegbé láyé o. Ọ̀dàlẹ̀ ń yọ̀ ó ní mo ṣe gbé. Ọ̀dàlẹ̀ máa yọ̀ ó ṣe gbé. Ayé agbẹ́bí fún àlàré, ayé agbáre fún ẹlẹ́bí. Wọ́n dàbàrà bá